is amazing. It was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vanderkrant in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here at Daytona. It was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vanderkrant in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono, who's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green, green, green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want to turn it to turns. He's got the job. De Bono's overtaken. Now can he get Ben Faulkner? Up through turns 2 and 3 they go. Round the right-hander. Dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second. Houghton third. Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. It was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because Tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we get a good run. Dodds just absolutely think about it. It's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, wherever it is you are watching from. Welcome back to SRWtv. Welcome in to the Legends World Challenge for the double feature here this evening for your Friday night delight of Friday night fun times ahead. We bring you the round 2 replay stream ahead of the live broadcast later this evening of the Red Bull Ring for round 3 of the season. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Brunner, and bring you all the action through sight and sound as always here on the SRWtv YouTube channel. If you're new here and you haven't seen us before, or you've been here for a while and you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe and the bell icon as well, so you are notified whenever we go racing here at SRW, whether it be for the Legends World Challenge here on the Friday Night Delight Fun Time event, or for any of our other events, including the Tuesday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Series, the Wednesday night Cooler Master Super Formula Championship, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals, or the Sunday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Championship. Tonight we bring you action from 2 parts of Western Europe, from 2 countries not too far away from each other. Firstly, the round 2 replay, of course, round 2 contested last week. We missed the broadcast, unfortunately, as I was ill, but we bring you all the action here tonight via a replay file out at Zolder for the alternate circuit here this evening. Later on, we'll be out for round 3 at the Red Bull Ring, but your starting grid for tonight's first race will be up on your screen right now. Adam Hughes on debut in the series here tonight. He'll start on pole position ahead of Jake Edwards here with Tyson Handmer and Mick Clifton on the second row of the grid. Dan Bartish, Andrew Rushworth line up in behind them with Ryan Bunt and John Trott making up the top 8. Matty Feely, Di Feldman to make up the top 10 as we then move back to Greg Leake and Stephanie Piccoli with Callan Hodgkinson, Zach Rattray White, Tony Baker and Mark Cochran at the back end of the field. So we've got a good amount of cars out there, 16 drivers in the field this evening. Plenty of them to have an attack and an attempt at this wonderful Zandvoort alternative circuit. So, of course, the regular GP layout has a much tighter chicane as the final couple of corners. Tonight's race will be as a part of the alternate layout, which kind of makes it a lot more straight at the final couple of corners. It cuts out the chicane pretty much and gives us an opportunity to, just have a bit more fast-paced racing through those final couple of sectors. But just waiting for the whole grid now to get on board and get into the grid with us as well. We won't be too far away from race getting underway this evening. For race 1 of 2, of course, regular round formats here in the Legends World Challenge. We have a 10-minute qualifying, a 10-minute heat race, little warm-up, and then a 15-minute feature. We will only be here tonight for the races themselves, the heat and the feature, for the first of our 2 races, or our 2 rounds here this evening for the double feature. We'll see how these drivers go, especially with Adam Hughes on pole. The grid is goated tonight, thanks to Adam Hughes. He's made it goated by joining the grid this evening, and we'll see how he goes out on track amongst this competitors amongst this field. Lights are going to go up though. We're going to go racing for race number 1 of the evening. Hughes on pole, Edwards P2. We are underway as they light it up at the front of the field down towards turn number 1. A massive moment to begin this double header Friday Night Delight as Hughes leads them round for the very first time. You can see already defending against his teammate Jakey Edwards. We'll see how well they can hold each other off throughout this race here this evening as they battle up towards turn number 4. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago in round 1, fantastic racing out at Silverstone saw Andrew Rushworth take the round win and the feature race win. As there's a little bit of contact in the background, Piccoli has a massive off track. She tries to keep it going and hard into the wall. McCauley back into the series and already back into the wall. Baker and Rattray White have not made the race start here of race number 1. As Hughes leads them up over the hill down towards the second chicane. Such a tough little section of circuit. Very, very poor for off tracks. Very, very poor for trying to get yourself situated, as McCauley is still struggling in the background and has now jumped back to pits. Unfortunately for her, going from bad to worse here in the early doors of this race. As Hughes leads them round, Edwards in behind, Hanmer in P3, Clifton and Bartish make up the top 5, Rushworth, Bunt, Cochrane, Tot and Fearley make up the top 10, Hodgkinson, Leake, Feldman, the only other cars left on circuit with Piccoli in the pit lane as we come up towards the final couple of corners now. So Hughesy's done well off the race start, built the lead over Edwards in P2. The two Blackout OPR cars at the front end of the field. Hanmer doing well for Vermilion. Clifton doing well for Accelerate Sim Racing in P4 at this stage. That's your timing tower, that's your order of things. At the moment, as I mentioned, Tony Baker and Zach Rattray White not starting this race. Stephanie Piccoli still in pit lane after the heavy contact on lap 1 of this race. We're 2 minutes into it, only a 10-minute race in the heat, if you do so recall. So everything will be on the line for them to try and battle as hard as they can towards the end of this race, as Clifton runs it slightly wide off the exit. Just trying to push, find any time that he can to catch up to his competitors up the road from him. On board with him now through the first chicane. Hopping those curbs. Trying to put all the pressure on Hanmer and Edwards and Hughes. As Feely's had a moment in the background. He spun it round down at the chicane. He's got it going again for Blackout OPR. Feldman's had some wars as well. She's back going. Hodgkinson, another of the Blackout OPR drivers, trying to put some pressure on his teammate, John Trott. As Leakey's had a moment in the background, but he's got it going again, and the I'm only here for SR machine. Just here for SR is Greg Leake. Good to see him out on track once again. Hughesy, though, still leads the way as Piccoli rejoins the circuit up ahead of them from the pit lane. Edwards and Hanmer, this battle looks to be starting to warm up a little bit, starting to sizzle between the 018 and the 912. Which one of them can get the upper hand or the advantage over each other? We know that Edwards is a strong operator. We know that Hanmer is a strong operator as well. It's whether they can put all the puzzle pieces together and keep themselves going, as Hodgkinson and Trott are continuing their battle in behind Mark Cochrane here down towards turn 1. The 4.22 of Trott. Done a fairly good job in this race thus far. Only 2 laps into it, 3.5 minutes or 3 of 50 minutes at this stage. As we continue on, Andrew Rushworth, current championship leader in this race. What can he do this evening? Needs a solid chunk of points if he hopes to maintain the championship lead. And Ricky Bunt, I mean, he's also got some claims of his own as well over this championship, as Adam Hughes has had a moment at the front of the field. He spun it round. Edwards has also been involved as well. This has caught both of them out. Bartish has dropped a couple of spots. This now gives Hanmer the lead of the race with around about halfway to go. 5.5 minutes. Hanmer has a lead well in hand over Mick Clifton and just needs to keep it clean towards the checkered flag, as Edwards is dropping further and further back. His teammate Trott has now lost a spot to Callan Hodgkinson, as Hughesy has dropped out of the lead all the way back down to P6. So outside the top 10 for Adam Hughes. Remembering this will be a reverse grid in race number 2. Major damage on the front of Adam Hughes' car. Could be a blessing in disguise. Comes in and gets it fixed up. Ends up on pole for race 2. That could do him nicely as he comes into pit lane. So Ricky Bunt continues round just outside the top 5, but getting a solid chunk of points for himself as well. I thought Zolder was last week. No, it is. It was last week. This is the replay broadcast of last week's race, as we missed it because I was ill. So yeah, so we've still got Red Bull Ring coming up later on in the piece at around about, I want to say 20 to maybe 10 to 8 is when we'll get the Red Bull Ring started. So that's still coming your way for round 3. We've got the double header this evening of round 2 from last week and round 3 this week as well. So yeah. So Bartish at the moment trying to chase down Andrew Rushworth on the podium. They've got Clifton up ahead of him, the rock star rocking out in P2. Hanmer leading the way, 3 minutes 50 seconds left here in race number 1. So it almost feels like it's a little bit done and dusted at this stage. All the major players that were battling it amongst each other have either crashed out or lost out. And everyone else is just in a beneficiary position at this point in the race. Yeah, look at the clock. So these battles will continue on towards the checkered flag. 3 minutes 20 seconds left to run in race number 1 this evening. Clifton, though, he's actually holding fairly good gap up to Hanmer. He's not really giving up too much time. He's not gaining a whole lot, as he does now drop out below a second to Hanmer. He is holding Rushworth at bay, as well as Bartish in P4. So at this point, the gap could start to spread just like butter, as Trott is still battling with his teammate Callan Hodgkinson. Their gap has now started to spread just a little bit here. Friday nights went from being GTs owned by Blackout OPR to Legends being owned by Blackout OPR. They make up the majority of the field, it seems, out there at the moment. But it's good to see them out there and having a good time around Zolder. A classic circuit, a real challenge, a real hidden gem. And with the latest art update around this track, it looks the business at the moment as Trott continues to chase down Callan Hodgkinson in P7 on the road. Bartish is now all over the back end of Andrew Rushworth's car as they come through the first chicane. So starting to apply some pressure here, start to massage it onto the back of Rushworth. He's got about 2 minutes left to get this move done if Bartish hopes to get onto the podium. But he will be pushing like nobody's business at this stage as they rocket through the second chicane and up and around towards the back end of the circuit. Barge doing an incredible job at the moment. Really keeping it clean. I missed the GTG series. Sucks the participation wasn't there for the most popular race. Yeah, it's a real shame. I think unfortunately Friday nights, plus also the fact that GTs really do suit an endurance style more so than a sprint style. I think those were kind of the contributing factors as to how that played out, unfortunately. I would love for it to come back in an endurance setting where we maybe do like a solo 3-hour event at some point where drivers just sign up and they come and race for 3 hours. I don't know. I feel like that would be pretty cool. Sean Benici in the chat as well, agreeing with that sentiment. Yeah. I mean, I'd love for GTs to come back, but we need the numbers. That's the only problem. And even though this series wasn't getting crash hot numbers last season, the racing was always close, where GTs would always spread out and just didn't make for all that fun show all of the time, where these things, they're short, sharp, and they're very, very direct with how they race. So yeah, it is the same as the GT Open Sprint, but you know, I feel like in a league race setting, endurance is always preferred. I don't know, as Clifton's had it off in the background, this has now allowed Bartish and Rushworth past him onto the podium now. So a single mistake at the first chicane has cost Mick Clifton a possible podium here at Zolder. This is the final lap of the race. Tyson Hanmer is only a couple of corners away from a breakout win in his first round of the season. Could this be the moment that a charge is made for a title by the Vermilion driver Hanmer? Got some lap traffic up ahead of him. They're going to let him go. As we come up towards the final couple of corners. And in through the final chicane for Tyson Hanmer, and a breakout win for him in race number 1 this evening. He comes across the line and wins race number 1 out at Zolder. Rushworth P2, Bartish in P3, Clifton in P4, Ryan Bunt will make up the top 5. Cochrane, Trott, Hodgkinson, Feely and Leake will make up the top 10 Feely, Hughes, Edwards, and Piccoli, the rest of the runners. Team events would be pretty cool. They would be pretty cool, but the problem is you're then halving the amount of cars you could have because you have to field a car with 2 drivers. So when you're struggling to get a series running with 1 driver in each car, you then halve that when you're trying to do a team event. So that's the only issue with that. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be a 3-hour race every week. I think my personal opinion is if we were to bring back GTs, we should run a 3-hour endurance race every 3 weeks. It means you run 3 rounds out of the season, and it gives people 3 weeks to practice. And then you race. You race during the day on a Saturday, because then it's at night time for people in the US. It doesn't really clash with anything if it's during the day, and we just play it around special events. So that's a trainer. So Hanma takes the win in race number 1. We've got 1 more race left to run here, with a little warm-up / expression session coming your way in between the sessions, ladies and gentlemen. So a little bit of a warm-up, a little bit of an expression session for you here. We will not be too far away from getting going and racing again for race number 2, or into round number 3 for the Red Bull Ring a little bit later on. We should be into the session. Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, there are some US series out there, Sean. You know, there's SimCar and stuff like that, but I would love it if we could run it again. I just don't know. I just don't know how well it would work for the entire field. That's all. You know, everything else is pretty much locked out for broadcasts, for racing, for entries, and also for RC as well. So it's a tough gig out there. But we've still got Legends action to come. We've still got race 2 to come your way. We've got round 3 of the season coming your way very, very shortly from the national circuit of Red Bull. Oh, I see. I work weekends in US League too early in the night for me. That's a shame. I suppose you wouldn't actually. No, you could technically do it actually. We'll get up our provisional race results though for heat number 1. This is how they all finished out on the road. In heat number 1, Tyson Hanneman took the win to Andrew Rushworth, Dan Bardish in P3, Mick Clifton, Ryan Bunt in the top 5. Mark Cochran, John Trott, Callan Hodgson, Matt Feely, Greg Leake for the top 10. Di Feldman, Adam Hughes, Jake Edwards, Stephanie Piccoli, the last of the runners in the field. Ratro White Baker never got going, unfortunately. Yeah, it would be. So there's a US series that I broadcast with JP actually that was at midday today, thanks to daylight savings. Prior to that, it was at like 11 o'clock. So it's sort of midday to late morning most times. But yeah, we'll have some solo racing, especially being the national circuit as well. It's not too long. There's some good passing opportunities. The run and the drag race up the hill will be pretty spectacular, I think, up towards turn 1. So I think we're going to be in for some solid racing for round 3 later on. Zolder's still going to bring some good racing, I think. It showed some great little battling throughout there. It's a big test. So it pushed the driver's racecraft a little bit in race number 1, but I think Red Bull will give us some solid racing. It was my choice to get put on the calendar to put Red Bull National Circuit on there. I thought it's going to throw out some chaos, throw out some carnage, but also some solid racing as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they go. Red Bull, I think the GP circuit would have been a little bit too long for them, but the national circuit's going to be perfect. Phenomenal. You know, it's tough with the off tracks. It's nice and short and sharp. It should be a great set of races later on. But starting grid for race number 2 will be as follows, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Hughes will start ahead. Oh no, hasn't actually reversed the grid for me. How rude. How rude of them. So Stephanie Piccoli will start on pole position. She will have Jakey Edwards next to her. Yep, with Adam Hughes in behind. Di Feldman, Greg Leake as well. And then I believe Maddie Feely will start in behind them. We then have Callan Hodgkinson and a couple of drivers out there too. But gritting is up. We're going racing. Rattray White and Baker not making the start once again. Jump start from Stephanie Piccoli. That's going to cost her. She is going to have a drive-through penalty. At the end of lap number 1, she jumped the start, did Piccoli. As there's been a big moment in the background. Not really, actually. Thought a couple of drivers may have been involved, but we're looking pretty good at this stage as the pack flows through. Round towards turn number 3. Look at them all. They're like little ants just dancing over a tabletop. I don't know if Jake... Oh, there's big contact, though. Feely into the wall. Clifton involved. There's been another one, I think. There is. There goes Brant. Oh, my God. Bartish has rolled. Dan Bartish has rolled down the back straight in a mammoth moment here. We've got to get some replays happening very, very quickly, seeing as we're so close to when it happened. So this was around a little bit earlier. This was Clifton and Maddie Feely. Bang, straight in the wall. Big, big moment. And then further around, this was Dan Bartish. This was big. So there goes, I believe, Cochrane into the side of Bartish. He gets helped over by another Apex car. Rolls back over and then slams back into the side of, I believe, Andrew Rushworth. That was a big, big moment in this race. Oh, I've made the mistake. I have accidentally jumped to the end of the session. Very, very good. That's all right, though. We have fixed it. We have fixed it. Everyone's going to get... Disregard what just happened in the feature race. It's the one time of a replay file broadcast that I've clicked the live button by mistake. So we're going to get a replay of the feature. We are going to get a replay of the feature here. So we'll actually be able to have a look at what happened here with Piccoli's start. You can't hold brakes if wheels are not on ground. This is very, very true. So we're going to be able to see the race start all over again. Luckily, we only made it to turn 3. What a way to pad for time. Accidentally clicked the live button during a replay broadcast. Phenomenal stuff. We are underway though, once again, for the start of this race. Let's just break it down actually. This is how they all started off. So obviously Piccoli's had the jump start. She will have the drive-through. Edwards and Hughes have done well. I'm not sure if Edwards also copped the jump start as well. But through all of this, through us trying to figure this out, at the back end of the field, Clifton and Feely have a bit of a coming together into the wall. This is further round. And then I believe it was, there it is. That's them into the wall. And then Cochrane's going to have a slide. Yeah, there he is there. Big wiggle. Catches grass. Then you'll see this. Bang! Tips over Bartish. Bartish then runs into Rushworth. Somehow! He hits him twice. 2-for-1 special. And then through all this, Ryan Bunce had a spin down at the chicane, as has Stephanie Piccoli. Not the race start you would want from an Apex Esports League driver, I must say. If you're the team owner of that team, you're worried right now. You're worried if that's happened on lap 1. We'll say that. So don't like that it's actually not fixed the session state for me. That's so helpful. We'll see if it fixes it when we get to the next start of the next lap. Hughesy and Edwards though, top 2 positions. Hodgkinson P3 with Leake, Trott and Feldman in behind. Hammer, Piccoli, Bunt, Rushworth, Cochrane, Bartish is towed back. Clifton and Feely as Hodgkinson spun it round. Not the best look for him as he drops further and further back. As Leakey's having a solid run up towards the start-finish line. Can he make his way further and further up the field? He's currently inside the top 3. I'm just going to quickly close and reopen my SDK because it decided, didn't want to play ball and reset the timing for me. It decided to be mean. There we go. Now we fixed it. The timing's slightly off. That's fine. It'll fix itself by the end of this lap. So Hughesy leads the way. He has got Tyson Hanmer in behind him at the front end of the field. Leakey is on the podium. He's here for the SR, but he's also here to snatch podiums, it seems. Disregard the timer on there. We're waiting for it to get fixed as we have just lost overlays, so reload those. Happy days. As Trott is all over the back of Greg Leake at the moment. Battle is on. This is for P3 on the road in the feature race. Remembering, worth more points in the feature, so it's worth trying to get these extra positions if you can. As they come down towards the back end of the circuit. And up towards the final couple of corners. So the battle's been going well for them at the moment. Leakey and John Trott as they rocket through up towards the start-finish line. The timing's now starting to get fixed, which is good. We really are going from strength to strength at the moment, aren't we? Come on, show me my overlays. Now it doesn't want to do it. How rude. So, Leakey and Trott, this battle's going to continue on here. It is the closest battle on track. This fight has been heating up across the course of this race. And the battle is on for P3 on the road. You can't ask for much more on a Friday night. You get the double show of round 2 of the Legends World Challenge here in SRW as Leakey's lost it. Leakey's lost it. John Trott gets a position for free. And now moves up onto the podium, and your heart just has to break for Leakey. We've been waiting for him to break through and get himself a podium here after returning to circuit after so long away as a safety car driver. Just makes a solid mistake down at the first chicane. That's cost him a podium at this stage. Promise you, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting our timing back up and underway so we can track how much longer this race has left to run. There we go. Disregard the timer. As I said, the timer's wrong because of my mistake, as Hodgkinson has now spun it round. He's towed back to pits, and Hughes will cross the line to start lap number 4 of this race. So we went around about 5 laps last time. We are just going to get rid of the timer because it's not showing the actual time of the race. So Hughesy leads to Hanmer, to Trott, to Feldman, to Rushworth, to Bunt, to Cochrane, Leake, Edwards, Feely, the top 10. Clifton, Piccoli, Hodgkinson, Bartish, unfortunately not continuing after rolling his car over earlier in the race, it seems. But Rushworth's having a solid run. Everyone has now spread out just slightly a little bit here towards the checkered, towards the sort of next part of this race. So we'll just see how they go throughout the rest of this one. Get any questions into the chat, get your comments in as well. We've still got the Red Bull Ring to come your way live from the National Circuit of the Red Bull Ring for round 3. This is the replay broadcast of round 2 at the start of the double feature tonight, the double header of round 2 and round 3 back to back here for the broadcast of the Legends World Challenge via SRWtv. It's been a phenomenal pleasure to call the action this whole season and this evening as well. Hughesy's done a solid effort in this race to get himself so far up the leaderboard. Leakey's now had to jump back to pits too, so it's only going from worse to worse for Mr. Greg Leake. As Hughesy is leading from the front. 6 seconds is the gap back to Tyson Hanmer. John Trott even further back, another 5.4 seconds. Feldman, top 4 position at the moment. This would be a breakout performance for her if she can pull this one off. Rushworth doing well though, P5. Bunt in P6, Cochrane in P7. So a couple of Apex Esports cars out there. Jake Edwards in P8, Maddie Feely P9. As mentioned, Mickey Clifton, the rock star of Accelerate Sim Racing, making up the top 10. And then Piccoli is the last car left out on the circuit as Leakey and Hodgkinson are in the pit lane. I look forward to seeing how they go tonight out at the Red Bull Ring. Of course, Hughesy doing himself a justice here, running around incredibly well at this point of the race. I have to wonder if he races tonight at the Red Bull Ring, how could he go? Could he put a platter together for himself of a solid performance? Can confirm we've got 10 cars in the other session at the moment. In the live session of the Red Bull Ring, we have got 10 cars waiting in the wings, ready to go racing. Could get a couple more before the 8 o'clock cutoff of the qualifying session. So we'll see how they go out there and how well they can perform out at the Red Bull Ring in only a couple of moments' time. Once we meet the checkered flag here at Zolder, we will rocket across. And when I say rocket, we are hopping on a private plane straight out the window and flying over to Austria. Just straight up, 2-minute flight. We're there, we're banging away. We are having a grand old time. So Hughesy's doing well at the front end of the field to control this race at this stage by so much. Ricky Bunt is having some connection issues. Rushworth is alongside him. So their battle's now starting to heat up. Oh, Rushworth wasn't willing to turn into his teammate. He backed out of it the last minute. But everything is to play for here for these drivers in this session here tonight. The points, the glory, the win. And Adam Hughes right now on debut in this series is looking to take his first win in his first round of the season. Great to see the Zolder race being given a run. Was challenging but lots of fun. Oh mate, we were always going to broadcast it. It was just finding a right time, a good time to do it. I thought, hey, why not run a double feature tonight? A little bit of a precursor before round 3, a little bit later on for the Red Bull Ring, or only in about 5 minutes time. But just, we get the broadcast out there, we get the race shown, get to highlight some of the drivers that have had a good race, some that have had not such a good race, namely Dan Bardish for rolling his car. But yeah, just good to show it off. Shame to miss out this week. Hopefully everyone puts on a show. Hopefully, mate. Sorry we can't have you out there, but we look forward to seeing you in the next one, of course. But Hughesy is leading the way. He's doing an incredible job at the front of the field. He's stretched out his lead to around about 8 seconds over Tyson Hanmer, John Trott, P3. So 2 Blackout OPR cars on the podium at the moment. Tyson Hanmer, who won race 1, is looking to win the round by finishing P2. Di Feldman in P4. Ryan Bunt, in P5, Andrew Rushworth, P6, Jakey Edwards in P7, Mark Cochrane in P8, P9, Matt Feely, P10, Mick Clifton, P11, Stephanie Piccoli, Leakey and Hodgkinson. Leakey's back out on track, Hodgkinson is not. So he is the second non-finisher here of race number 2 this evening, as Bardish has not rejoined the circuit just yet. I'm unsure of how much longer we have left in this race. I want to say we're either on the white flag now or we'll have white flag next time by. We're quite close to the end of this race, so we'll see how we go. If we get to 8 o'clock and the race hasn't finished, we will have to call it, because as Hughesy spun it round, could be a big moment in this race. Where's Hanmer? He's right there. Hughesy's got it going again. All of a sudden, though, it's going to get a little bit spicy and exciting. The pressure is now back on Adam Hughes at the front of the field. Hanmer. Oh, my God. Hughes was lucky to have such a significant lead. That could have cost him the win. 9 laps. Sweet as. We should be right then. We should be all good. If we're on lap 7 now, we should have 2 to go. So should mean we should be done before 8 o'clock, and we should be able to do the 5-minute countdown as I swap over servers. It does mean we do miss qualifying for the Red Bull Ring, as that will start in 5 minutes' time, but that's okay. We'll be able to run through the grid anyway, and as long as we get in before the start of race number 1, that's all that matters. So, the moment Hanmer has started to catch back up to Adam Hughes. He's not quite there, ready yet to put on the pressure. Bunt has now gotten past Feldman for P4 on the road. Trott is way up there. Can't quite catch the 422. Leaky out there, just cutting some laps at the moment. Feely's having some issues in the background, including a crash, it seems. Gotten back going again in the number 7, but a problem for Matty Feely, as Hughes has been dominating thus far in this race. Even with a half spin, it allowed Hanmer to get back up within 2 seconds, but he hasn't been able to catch him and get past him once again just yet. So really, really good to see the pressure withstood by Adam Hughes at this stage. As I mentioned, we've got 10 drivers waiting in the wings for Red Bull, ready to go racing. And, you know, we're going to be getting in there very, very shortly. If you've signed up for the series, you're thinking about racing tonight, be sure to come in. You've got around about 4 minutes to get into the next session at Red Bull. Qualifying starts at 8 PM Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So you've got plenty of time to get in there and have a run, as long as you're in the league. We want to see more of you out there. This is great to have 14 cars on track. We've had 19 total drivers race this season. That is unbelievable. If we could get a full grid of 19, that would be absolutely spectacular. If we could put those puzzle pieces together and get you all out on a Friday night for a fun time. As Hughesy's coming up around the final corner, we should have 1 lap left to run in this race. This feature has been spectacular for Hughesy. We haven't had many battles on track, but it's been a solid display from the leader at this point. Up and around turn 1 for Adam Hughes. Hops the curb through turn 1, getting a big wiggle and a big unsettlement through there. Keeps it on the track, though. He started to build the gap now over Tyson Hanmer. 3 seconds is now the gap. Trott even further back. Bunt back about 18 seconds. Feldman back 19. Rushworth back 24. And it only goes up from there, as Hughes has been on fire in this race. We'll see if he can continue to hold this thing together throughout the final lap and on towards the checkered flag of this race to claim himself his first feature win of the season. Now you'll notice if you look at the season, or the league season on iRacing, it only counts feature wins as race wins. It does not count heat wins. We do count them, but the league does not on the iRacing service. But Hughes has done a fantastic job in this race. Hanmer as well, he's won the round at this point. Got to give him his flowers. This will be 177 points next to his name. Trott P3, good chunk. Bunt P4, a good chunk. Feldman with an exceptional performance to get inside the top 5. That's a fantastic performance from her to put all those puzzle pieces together and to make her way up the field. As Susie comes round the final corner now, I believe this should be checkered flag. It is indeed. Up to the line for Adam Hughes, and he wins race number 2 of the evening for Zolder. Hanmer will finish in P2. He'll win the round this evening. John Trott is going to make up our podium for round 2 out at Zolder. Ryan Bunt a little bit further back is going to come home in P4 for Apex Esports League. Leakey's going to cross the line in P12 just ahead of him. Feldman with an exceptional top 5 performance. Jake Edwards home in P6. Rushworth home in P7. Mark Cochran damaged and alone is going to come home in P8. Clifton P9. Fairley in P10, and then Stephanie Piccoli in P11. We already mentioned Greg Leake coming home P12. Hodgkinson and Bartish not making the line in this race. Baker and Ratchway White not making the green flag. As the celebrations begin for these drivers, we're going to take this time to thank our sponsors, change over the servers, and hop in to the Red Bull Ring. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very soon.
It's a total one. This is amazing. Up it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vanderkran in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here. Daytona was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vanderkran in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono, who's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green, green, green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want to turn it to twos. He's got the job. De Bono's overtaken. Now can he get Ben Faulkner up through turns 2 and 3? They go round the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second. Houghton third. Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
turn one. This is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down to the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because I'll tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if we get the good run. Dodds just absolutely think about it. It's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are into the session for the live round 3 broadcast of season 2 of 2024, the Legends World Challenge here at SRWtv. I'm your commentator still here, Hamish Munro, bringing you action now through sight and sound live on the SRWtv channel. For not round 2, we had round 2 just before. Now for round 3 out of the Red Bull Ring National Circuit here this evening. Drivers are getting qualifying underway here around about halfway through qualifying at this stage in time. Drivers are rocketing around as Bartosz currently holds the provisional pole position of this race here this evening. Let us know in the chat what you think, who you're feeling could take the win this evening. 9 cars have set, oh, no they haven't, 8 cars have set laps. Who do I know on the list that has set a lap time? Let's add him to the list. So 9 cars have set a time in the session, 10 cars are in. So we are rocketing towards the start of race number 1 for round number 3, the 3rd race of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Still regular racing format to come your way of a 10-minute heat, 3-minute warm-up / expression session, and the 15-minute feature as well here tonight for the Red Bull Ring. If you love the action out at Zolder and you want to see more, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well. Here to be a part of more of the action out at SRWtv. We've got such a phenomenal rest of round 3 to come your way. Sunday night, Warren and Brown Tools Viet Supercars Championship live out at Mugello is going to be an absolute awesome event with those pro drivers out there testing their limits and testing their skills around the hills of Tuscany. The next week for round 4, that's going to be a massive one as well. You do not want to miss it. Big thank you has to go out to all of our series sponsors, including our title sponsors, Warren and Brown Tools, for their continued support of the Tuesday night Viet Supercars Series and the Sunday night Viet Supercars Championship, as well to Cooler Master for their support of the Wednesday night Super Formula Championship, and to Shannon's Insurance for their support on the Thursday night GR86 Nationals, as well to other series sponsors, NeuroPower, DSL Railway Services, Shunt Scenery, and Grid Ministries, home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video, Top Gear Australia. The news, interviews, and other studio segments which they may be doing. That show is now available on Channel 10 as well. As Bartosz leads the way in qualifying, Cochrane, Clifton, Anderson, Rushworth, Ferguson, Rowe, Brown, McCauley, and Link are the 10 drivers we have out on the road at the moment. That is the order they are currently sitting in. In qualifying with 2 minutes to go in this session, what a breakthrough it would be for Dan Bartosz. If he were to get this pole position, if he were to get a win next to his name here tonight, that would be some phenomenal stuff. For Cochrane, that would be a great breakthrough as well. Rushworth will be hoping to take back the lead of the championship after drop rounds. A big slide from Bartosz, though. That might end his qualifying fairly swiftly, unfortunately, as Cochrane is coming down towards the final corner of this Red Bull National Circuit. So we've pretty much cut out the top of the hill, which has also cut out quite a tough couple of corners, i.e. turn 3, turn 5, and turn 6, and technically turn 7 as well. So we're running up the hill. You can see the drag race that it's going to be up this steep incline. Not much need for brakes. I mean, the car should slow itself down just rolling up the hill, I would think. So only a couple of corners around this place. They are quick lap times, and they're a minute long. But in these things, it'll feel like an eternity still. But what a test this is going to be for these drivers. Bartosz provisional pole, not yet being challenged by anyone. Rushworth's pulled out of his lap. Cochrane's had a moment too. Clifton's in pit lane. Anderson can't do anything about it in the tiny Tots machine. Well, the little Tykes machinists say neither can Johnny Rowe at this stage. He's coming up towards the line. What's his lap time going to be? Does he go any better in qualifying? There's the current best scores on the doors. Rowe can't do anything about it. Piccoli can't, neither can Leak. So Bardish is going to claim the third qualifying pole position of the season. And what a qualifying it was from him. To put that car on pole, 1:06 was his lap time. A phenomenal lap time there from Dan Bartish. So we've got race 1 to come your way. 10-minute heat race. The 15-minute feature, as well as the little expression session and warm-up in between. Starting grid, though, for race number 1 will be as follows. Dan Bardish will start on pole ahead of Mark Cochrane in P2. Andrew Rushworth, Mick Clifton make up the second row of the grid. Jack Anderson and Jordan Ferguson on the third, with Johnny Rowe, Tom Brown, Stephanie Piccoli and Greg Leak makes up your running order in this one. Jacko's in the chat, full send up the Tykes. The little Tykes are out there ready to rocket around the Red Bull Ring, as Bartish has put his car on pole position in this race. So we'll see what he can put together in this one. And if he can maximise and get himself a full chunk of points here in race number 1. It was a solid qualifying from the ETS Motorsport 95 car. Onwards and upwards, well, not much more upwards he can go. He's at the front of the field and at the top of the timing tower for the start of this race. Cochrane's in behind him. Rushworth, P3. Clifton, P4. Anderson, Ferguson, Rowe, Brown, Piccoli and Leak make up the grid. We are underway for race number 1. Out at the Red Bull Ring. Bardish has had a rocketing start off the line up towards turn number 1, but Cochrane has gone right there with him as they come round. Big blinking right now from Anderson in behind. He sent it round the outside of Mickey Clifton at turn 1. The little Tykes are taking over the Legends once again as they rocket through turn 2. Bardish still leads. Cochrane, Anderson in behind. Johnny Rowe's had a moment and he's off the track at turn 2. As we flow around through turn 4 and 5 up towards turn 6. Rushworth has done well off the start, but Anderson rocketed away. He's up 2 spots already and into the podium position of P3. He's looking to send it on Mark Cochrane at turn 6. Couldn't quite get it done. Has to tuck back in behind the school teacher. On board now with Cochrane as we rocket up the hill towards turn number 1. Major pressure being applied by Anderson. Major pressure. On board with Ando now. Oh, big wiggle through 1. Trying to apply as much as he can onto the back of Mark Cochrane's car as Leak. He's had a moment at turn 1. He spun it round off of the curb, it seems. Brown's now made it past him. Battle for the top 3 continues on. This is the current running order of things. Bardish to Cochrane to Anderson to Rushworth to Clifton to Ferguson, Piccoli, Brown, Leak and Rowe. Rowe's had another moment in the background, a big crash. He's kept it going, but he is at the back end of the field. Top 4 on your screen, though. Separated by barely a whisper. They've got Clifton lurking in behind them, as well as Ferguson, too. As Anderson has sent it wide at the final corner. But he is hot on the heels of Mark Cochrane. Maximum pressure being applied from the little Tykes car of Jack Anderson. He's not willing to send it just yet at the top of the hill. Waiting for a mistake to be made from Cochrane. This is the kind of return to form we'd love to see. Anderson back up to pace. Cochrane and Bardish still firing on all cylinders. Rushworth and Clifton as well. We are 2.5 minutes into this race. Lap 3 of the 10-minute heat race to begin your evening for round 3. We've already begun it with the start of the double feature in round 2 earlier tonight, where Tyson Handmar took the round win for round number 2. As they rocket down towards the final couple of corners. Oh, Cochrane's covering an inside line. Has he gone into pit lane? I think he has. Why has Cochrane had to come into pit lane? Has he somehow copped an off track and needed to take a drive-through penalty for not clearing it? He's still in the lane. I haven't seen him stop. We'll keep an eye on it. And if he actually does stop in the lane or if he drives through. He's driven through. So he's copped, obviously, a slowdown at some point. Hasn't cleared it. And has copped an iRacing black flag for a drive-through penalty. Such a shame for Mark Cochrane, who was in P2. But them's the breaks when you cut the circuit, unfortunately for him. And now promotes Anderson up to a third position gained and into P2. Oh, a jump start. Okay, that would answer it then. So, he jumped the start. So, Cochrane jumped the start. That's what's given him the drive-through. Had to complete it as of lap 3. Smart move, maximising the amount of time you had to get it done in. Bardish, Anderson, Rushworth, P3. Clifton in P4. Ferguson doing well in the top 5. Piccoli's done well to get up 3 spots. Brown all on his lonesomes. Cochrane's also on his somewhat lonesome row. And then Greg Leake at the back of the field just making up the numbers at this stage. And that's a big wiggle from Anderson at turn 1. That's got him off the podium. And now in behind Rushworth and Clifton. What has occurred to Jack Anderson up at the top of the hill? And how in the hell did he get loose up there? Oh, he caught the sausage curb. A massive wiggle. Very lucky not to end up in the wall. Incredibly lucky not to hit the tyre barrier. Although in saying that, he's on for some faster sectors at the moment. So he has found some pace in the Legend here tonight in the 319. So the little tyke is pushing on up towards the start-finish line of this Red Bull National Circuit. So Bardish leads. He's led the whole way. He started on pole. He's done well to get where he is, to stay where he is as well. We are halfway through this race. Rushworth, Clifton, Anderson, Ferguson, Piccoli, Brown, Cochrane, Rowan, Leake make up the grid at this stage. Closest battle on track is this one between Clifton and Clifton and Andrew Rushworth. So good friends, quality rivals. They continue to put pressure on themselves to do better and better throughout the season. And as it progresses, no matter what they race, whether it's supercars, whether it's legends, whether it's open wheelers or anything in between, these guys put that maximum pressure on not only on themselves, but on each other as well, as rivals and as friends. So they will cross the start-finish line at lap 7 of this race. 6.25 minutes into it. Bardish with the lead well in hand. Anderson set the fastest second sector of the race last time by. He's making up some good ground through there. As Clifton, still on board with him, continues to apply this pressure to Andrew Rushworth. Anderson is lurking in the background, though, starting to come back at them in the little Tykes machine. They're only just breaking into the second between themselves and Bartish. They've started to chase him down and break down that gap, chipping away at it lap after lap. He needs to be careful of off-tracks, needs to be careful of drive-throughs as well. The digital crowd here in numbers today for the Legends World Challenge, putting immense support out there for these drivers. Let us know in the chat who's your favourite. Who are you out here to watch? Who are you out here to see? Who are you supporting today? So many quality competitors out in the field. So many fantastic battles have already been run this season and in seasons prior. And we're only just getting started in the Legends World Challenge. Rushworth and Clifton still battling it on for P2. Does Clifton show a nose on Rushworth, or does he try and keep this thing steady as ever? He looks like he's going to try and tuck the nose down at turn 6. Not quite close enough this time by to send it on Rushworth in P2. This would be giving Rushworth the lead of the championship if he were to finish this race where he is. With Hanmer away, with Bunt away as well. This would give the only other winner of a feature race other than Adam Hughes the lead of the championship in Andrew Rushworth. Minute and a half to go. Should have 2 more laps left to run in this race. Clifton and Rushworth have been unable to get settled or separated. I suppose I'll support Ando. In the chat and in the room, just supporting Ando. Phenomenal to have you here with us. Great to have you out there supporting the Ando machine. He hasn't caused a crash yet. He nearly crashed himself out early in the race. But he has kept himself at bay and kept himself in check and in line. That loss has obviously found him some gains out on track. He'll know what loss I'm speaking about. As Clifton and Rushworth side by side up the hill, up towards turn 1. Anderson's going to try and make it 3 wide. Oh my God, how are they going to be able to survive this? Somehow Rushworth makes it through ahead. Big wide run though for Rushworth and Anderson. That'll be an off track. Clifton might be able to come on through. You're waiting for the crash. He knows you're here now. He might have one just out of sympathy. Final lap of the race. Rushworth, Clifton and Anderson. Battle is on for P2. All 3 of them are involved. Disregard Greg Leake up ahead of them. He's out of sync. He's out of position. Bardish is leading. He's done well to lead every single lap of this race from the front. No one has managed to catch up to him just yet. Clifton unable to get by Rushworth. Anderson trying to find a pathway round. Cannot quite do it. Round the final corner now for Dan Bartish, and he's going to take the win for race number 1 of round 3 out at the Red Bull Ring. Rushworth will come home P2. That'll give him the lead of the championship. Clifton home in P3. Ando home P4. Ferguson makes it a double Tiny Tots top 5, or Little Tykes I should say. Little Tykes top 5. Leakey came home in P9. Brown never made the checkered flag. Piccoli home in P8. Rowe and Cochrane, the other finishers in P7 and P6 respectively. But that is the end of race number 1. Celebration's already beginning here for Dan Bartish. We've got race 2 to come your way. If you missed the action earlier tonight, we saw Tyson Hanmer take out the round win for round 2 of the series out at Zolder last week, where we showed the replay earlier tonight. And at the moment, Bartish is leading the way for the round win of round 3. This will be a breakthrough performance for him if he could get it done here this evening. So we've got a little 3-minute warm-up / expression session to come your way. Whether it's a burnout or a practice lap, these guys will do it out on the Red Bull Ring circuit here this evening. And it has been a phenomenal night of racing thus far in the Legends World Challenge. Next week, we'll be going racing once again, of course, at our next circuit on the calendar will be as follows. Next week will be out at Mid-Ohio for the short circuit on the 1st of November. So the start will start November. We'll start Thanksgiving month, the day after Halloween, with Mid-Ohio, the short circuit. What a race that's going to be. Wow, 1st of November. We are getting dangerously close to Christmas at this point. Dangerously close. Week after that will be out of VAR for the South Course on the 8th of November as well. So 2 massive US rounds to come your way. They'll be heading back home to Australia for the week after. Then Cadwell Park and then Belle Isle. And then the Driver's Choice to end out the season. The Driver's Choice will go out as of tonight. I've been meaning to do it. It'll go out for tonight though. We'll put the Driver's Choice out there. And we'll give them the options of what they wish to race at the end of the season. As Anderson's out there, there's his crash that you asked for, Sash. You got it. Cochrane out on track 2. Piccoli as well. A couple of the Apex Esports League drivers are out on track. Bardish, last race winner's out there too. About 50 odd seconds left in the warm-up session. Let us know who you're supporting out there. We know that we've got some big supporters for a couple of different drivers. Sash out there supporting Jack Anderson, I'm sure. Jacob's out there just supporting whoever. Sean will be supporting whoever. And we've got some Blackout OPR support, although we've got no Blackout OPR drivers on track tonight, unfortunately. The expression session has begun. The burnouts are occurring here. Anderson and Ferguson in the pit lane. Sorry, Anderson and Rowe in the pit lane doing some burnouts, lighting up those tyres prior to race number 2 here this evening. Feature race coming your way right now here at the National Circuit of the Red Bull Ring. Starting grid for this race, though, will be as follows. Tom Brown will start pole position ahead of Greg Leake, if I get the words out. Zevony Piccoli will start on the second row of the grid ahead of Johnny Rowe, Mark Cochran, Jordan Ferguson on the third. Jack Anderson, Mick Clifton, Andrew Rushworth, and Dan Bartish makes up the grid in this race. 10 drivers, all 10 of them getting reversed. Let's go racing here for race number 2. I'm excited. I'm incredibly excited. We're awaiting Tom Brown to join the grid if he does. If he doesn't, Greg Leake will have the pole. Could be in for something spectacular and wild if he can pull this off. Lights are going to go up though. Race number 2 coming your way. Feature race from the Red Bull Ring in the Legends World Challenge. We are go for the Legends World Challenge. It's a horrid start for Stephanie Piccoli off the line. She's pulled it straight over to let the whole field past her, it seems. Leake's now taken the lead. Rose into P2. Cochran and Ferguson side by side, and Anderson's had a massive shot out at turn 1. He's been spun around. I believe Rushworth was involved, or Piccoli, one of the two. A massive moment at turn 1. Leake with Rowe alongside. Rowe's now taking the lead on the race. He's got Cochran and Leake now chasing him down. Bardish has had a mega start. Last race winner's now up 6 spots. Ferguson up 1, Clifton up 2, Rushworth up 2 as well. As Brown never made the start, Anderson and Piccoli had a big moment at turn 1. As Rowe will come round to start lap number 2, Cochran's going to be all over Greg Leake. What has happened with Anderson and Piccoli at turn 1? So the run up the hill. He had Rushworth. Oh, he just turned across the nose of Clifton. Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame for Rando. He's had some good pace in this race thus far. His teammate, though, Jordan Ferguson, as Piccoli's had another moment in the background. Ferguson's in a tight little 5-way battle pack here for P2 on the road. Oh, needs to be careful of Bartish. Needs to be careful of him. Does well. This is now allowing, though, Johnny Rowe to rocket away at the front end of the field. Looking on par to take a quality performance here this evening. See if he gets a hole in one. That is the running order of things. Rowe, Clifton, Leake, Rushworth, Bartish, Ferguson, Cochran, Piccoli, Anderson in pit lane. Leake and Rushworth. Oh my God, Leake nearly mounts him through the final corner. That's now giving Bartish a run. Bartish getting a run up the hill. Could he take the position from Rushworth? If he gets this done, he will still be winning the round. Tucks it up the inside. Dan Bartish gets the job done. Oh, Ferguson having a big wiggle off the exit of turn 1 there. Leake's now going to get past him. No, he's not. Ferguson tucks it back up the inside. Couple of elderly gentlemen battling it out. On track here for P5 on the road. Leakey and Ferguson. Oh, as Leakey spun it round. Unfortunate there for Leakey. Oh, needs to be careful to rejoin. There's Cochrane who collides into the back of him. Oh my God. The safety car drivers caused an absolute pile-up with Mark Cochrane down at turn 5. Ferguson has survived. Rushworth has as well. Bartish in behind. Rowe is now under all sorts of pressure from Mickey Clifton, the rock star all over him from Accelerate Sim Racing. When does he go for the move on Johnny Rowe? Up the hill now towards turn number 1. Not willing to push for it just yet. Clifton sets the fastest lap of the race last time by. It was a 101 dead. Phenomenal lap time from Mick Clifton. Johnny Rowe still trying to lead this race, hugging it round the outside line. Clifton not quite willing to tuck it up the inside just yet. Rowe, though, now is the inside line for turn 4. And continues to hold the lead through turn 5. Phenomenal battle thus far. We've had 3 drivers into the pit lane this race. Anderson, Leake and Cochrane. 6 of them left out on the black stuff. We're only 4 minutes into this race, folks. We've still got a long way to go. Hell of a lot of laps left to be run. Cochrane now rejoins the circuit back in P7. Lucky not to go a lap down. Clifton and Rowe battling at the front end of the field. Bartish is right there. If these guys make contact or they tangle, he will take advantage. Oh, Bartish, though, he's going to take advantage already of Rowe going slow through turn number 1. He was a poet, didn't even know it. Bartish now into P2. He's still got Rushworth all over him side by side through turn 2 and 3. Now through turn 4. Continues to hold position and up through 5. They've got the little Tykeson behind him. They've got to be cautious and careful. As Rowe has now dropped a couple of spots in the span of only a lap. So Clifton now leads. Bartish, Rushworth, top 3. Rowe, Ferguson, Piccoli, Cochrane and Leake. For your top 8 cars on the road. Anderson still in pit lane out of this race, it seems. Brown never got started, unfortunately, here in race number 2. Across the line to start lap number 6 of this race. 5 minutes, 20 seconds into it. We should get 15 laps of this circuit based on the lap times. As Bartish settling into that rhythm. Still a fair whack of time to go. Still 10 minutes in this race. What can happen? We've had so much happen already. As they rocket through turn number 4. Rushworth still all over him. Still applying that pressure. You've got to remember, you've got to push these cars to an absolute limit to try and get the most out of them. Try and get the most out of your lap times. Try and get the most out of the car itself. You've got to push them. There is no room for error or hesitancy. You must be willing to push them to their grip limit, to find the limits of the circuit, to find the level of push in these cars. That's what it takes to get the best out of them. Juggle saying my wrist equals wrecked, and then saying no fast repair for me for some reason too. Ooh. We'll have to check if the sessions have actually been set with a fast repair, or maybe if they've been set with only one across both races. We'll have to double check, unfortunately, but that means that Anderson is out of the race and out of contention for a solid chunk of points here. As Rushworth is doing all he can to try and chase down and get past Dan Bartish. He's just unable to get it done thus far. It's been a solid attempt for sure, but he just hasn't been able to put all the puzzle pieces together. Now this would be a solid chunk of 117 points, or 177 points, sorry, for Dan Bartish here. It was a good time for the headset to die, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, though. We're back on the old classic boom mic. We know that one can't die. It's plugged in, but this battle's been going on for lap after lap now. Been an exceptional run home from a lot of these drivers. We still have so much left to run in this race. We're only at the halfway point. And trust me when I say there's still so much more to do. Still so much more for these drivers to push. Still so much more for these drivers to get out of their car. They have to try and push as much as they can. There goes my support. You could support Jordan. Doesn't just have to be Jack Oz. You could support Jordan, you could support Johnny, you could support another driver. Maybe Mick Clifton. Jack did hit Mick Clifton. Out of sympathy, you could support him. Ando's back out on track. So there you go, Sash. You've now got someone to support on track once again. And it is Jack Anderson who's out there. And 3 laps down on Greg Leake. So Mick Clifton leads the way. Dan Bartish in P2. Andrew Rushworth P3 at the moment. With Johnny Rowe, Jordan Ferguson, Mark Cochran, the last cars on the lead lap. Stephanie Piccoli, Greg Leake, Jack Anderson back out on circuit, but they're laps down. As we're now at the 9.5 minute mark, so we're nearly at the 10-minute mark. We'll be finished race number 1. We should have 5 laps to go at this stage. Clifton doing an exceptional job at the front of the field. Bartish doing equally well in P2. Be winning the round at this point if he can hold this all together. Rushworth P3, Johnny Rowe P4, and then Ferguson P5 to put 2 little Tykes cars up there. Cochran all on his lonesome. Same with Piccoli. Same with, well, I'd say Leake's on his lonesome, but he's got Jack Anderson who's 3 laps down with him. So they'll be having a heck of a little scrap for bragging rights. As Clifton leads the pack around. On board now with him. He's got Bartish hot on his heels, hot on the tail of the race leader. It's within half a second for Dan Bartish. Could he be the first driver of the season to get the double win on a Friday night? Could he make it happen out there? It would be maximum pressure, a maximum moment if he could get it done. As we run through turn 5, Bartish just doesn't really have an answer for trying to catch Clifton at the moment. He cannot quite chase him down. He's trying to continue this pressure, but you've got to remember the tyres will start to go off. You'll start to feel the burn as he gains a little bit through the final corner. Lap 12 about to begin. 11 minutes and 20 seconds into this race. So not too much longer left to run for these drivers. It's been a heck of an effort from these guys at the front end of the field to continue this battle on for so long. To keep it clean, to keep it off the curbs, and to keep the car on the straight and narrow as well. As they come through turn 2. Clifton and Bartish still battling away. Rushworth in P3, P4 Ferguson, Rowe P5. Cochran in P6, Piccoli in P7, Leake and Anderson, the top 9. As Piccoli's back in the pit lane. So she seems to possibly had another moment ever since the lap 1 incident, where she took avoiding action from Jack Anderson. Clifton and Bartish though. Bartish has now started to bring this gap down to less than 0.3 of a second. All over the back of Mick Clifton now at the front end of the field. He's trying to find a way past. Clifton's going to cover the inside line from Dan Bartish. Battle is on between them for the race win. Bartish to clarify the round win with the first double win of the season. Round turn 2 they come. Bardish was unable just quite to get there. A little bit of a oversteer from Clifton's car. He managed to catch it and keep it going. Just planted the foot and hope for the best. As they come up towards turn 6, second to last corner of this circuit. Such a fast-paced little run. Up and over the hill for them. And down through 6. Up towards turn 7. Need to be careful. The off-tracks need to be careful of taking too much curb. These cars do not like curbs. Specifically the 3D curves. We saw it catch out Anderson earlier in race 1. Clifton and Bardish. Bardish is all over him at the moment. Ash DeVries in the chat. Jay Ferg for the Bradbury. We'll see if he does so, Ash Oz. We'll see if he can get it done. Bardish, though, has gone round the outside of Clifton, who's had a big wiggle out of turn 1. Bardish now leads the way. Rushworth P2. The championship leader is all over the round leader at the moment for Bardish and Rushworth. They're going to have a lap to go when they cross the line. Bardish has now taken back the lead of this race. Rushworth is all over him right now like a wet dog. The forbidden sausage. They have to avoid it on this final lap. One turn to go before the white flag. Up towards the start-finish line. Barney's out there. White flag is out. Bardish could be on for one hell of a miraculous victory here this evening. He won race number 1. Went to the back of the field for race 2. Could be the first driver to get the double win happening for him. Or the double win next to his name, I should say. In a round this season. It hasn't happened across the first 2 rounds. He's got some lap traffic in Greg Leake up the road from him, who's now gotten past Stephanie Piccoli thanks to her taking another pit stop in this race. As they rocket through turn 4, Rushworth gap is now down to 0.3 of a second. Bardish, though, seems to have his number through the final sector. What a run this has been for Dan Bartish. Rushworth has done well. He's up 7. Bardish is up 9. Clifton's up 5. Ferguson up 2 for a incredible top 4 finish at the moment. Round the final corner they come. Bardish slides it out, and he's going to take home the round 2 win and the double win to claim the feature, the heat, and the round for Dan Bartish. Andrew Rushworth comes home P2. Mick Clifton P3. Ferguson going to come home in P4. Johnny Rowe going to end on his roof. Cochrane's going to get past him, and he's going to claim P5 on the road when he crosses the line. Leakey's already home in P7. Piccoli home in P8. Ando home 3 laps down and in P9. But what a run home for Dan Bartish. A double win next to his name. Solidified the heat. Solidified the feature. Solidified the round win. What an effort. What a job from the ETS Motorsport driver of Dan Bartish, ladies and gentlemen. A phenomenal effort this evening from Dan Bartish. Let's get some B-roll happening for you now and suss up some of these moments in this race that really collectively put it together. This was early on. Jack Anderson at turn 1. This is one of the big first incidents we had. So up towards turn 1. He's on the outside of Mick Clifton. Then you'll notice there's Rushworth. I'm not sure if there was a touch, but he cuts across. There's Clifton and then hooks him up, spins him round. Somehow Piccoli comes past almost unscathed. I believe the net code may have had a part to play. But then Cochrane had a similar moment later on. This was lap 2 inside of Leakey. Sends it, slides it, drifts it through turn 1. Everyone takes evasive action. Big moment in the race at that point. Leakey's then had to take evasive action. This was then further around for Leakey. So he spun it round down at turn 4. Then you'll see Cochrane come back around the corner. There he is there on the left-hand side of screen, and bang, straight in the back of Leak. Big moment for him in this race, but it's good to get some B-roll going because it was an exceptional performance tonight from this man, our race 1 winner, race 2 winner, and round winner, Dan Bartish. You have done what no one else has done this season, sir. You've taken home the heat win, the feature win, to equalise yourself a round win with maximum points. How does it feel to get that done, especially after getting the pole for race 1 as well?
Yeah, so that was unreal. That's the best race I've had in a long time. It was good fun, nice and clean. The boys were pushing hard all race, so it was good.
Mate, you look super smooth, super confident out there. You're finally starting to get to grips with this car. I mean, did the roll last week somehow knock some sense into you, and you learnt some different skills after realising what it's like on its roof?
Well, I think it knocked some sense in and then back out again, mate. It was a pretty hectic crash, that one. But, yeah, I am starting to get the hang of these things now. I think you got to look after the tyres just that little bit, especially in that second race. So,
yeah, pretty much through the midpoint of the race, you got to kind of settle in, look after him, and then kind of final 5 minutes, that's when you start to push again and really start to attack someone.
Yeah. Once you get them too hot, it's all over.
Yeah.
So I learnt that pretty early on. So yeah, but yeah, they're good fun. It's such a shame there's not a big field of these little cars out on the track, because it would be unreal with a big field.
Last season, I think we had around about 30 total drivers.
Yeah.
But we never had 30 drivers on track together.
Yeah, it's a shame.
This season we've had 22. I mean...
Yeah, because you imagine, especially on a little track like that, you imagine what even 20 or 25 cars would be like. It'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. It would be absolutely crazy.
Yeah, awesome. But yeah, no, very, very happy with performance tonight. So, yeah, I'll take that one.
Well, mate, it was an exceptional job from you. A win in race 1, a win in race 2, the pole position, a perfect round, sir, to give you the round win and maximum points. Let us know, helps get you out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well, for myself and Jack Oz, the other admin, as well as the rest of the league. Congratulations on your round win this evening for round 3 of the Legends World Challenge.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, just a quick shout out to the old man and at ETS or Eastern Tour Services. He puts the stickers on the car for me, and Big Matt's Computer Service in Taree. So, yeah, thanks to those guys. And thanks to SRW, and thanks, Hamish, for putting on this awesome series.
No worries, mate. Thank you so much for showing up week in and week out and having a crack. We love to see it. Best of luck next week for Mid-Ohio. We look forward to seeing how you go.
Thanks, mate. We'll see you then.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.
Well, great to talk to Dan Bartish there, our round winner for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. The perfect round from Bartish, and all of a sudden he is now a championship contender. But unfortunately, that must bring an end to our double feature for the evening. We saw Tyson Hanmer take out the round 2 round win. Tonight we saw as well the round 3 round win for Dan Bartish, a breakthrough win for him with 2 wins under his belt now. It's an exceptional performance from him. But we appreciate your time, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you being here with us once again for more Friday night fun delight in a double feature sense for the Legends World Challenge here this evening. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well, so you're notified whenever we go racing here on SRWtv, including our Tuesday night Warren Brown Tools V8 Supercar Series, the Wednesday night Cooler Master Super Formula Championship, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance GR86 Nationals, the Friday night Legends World Challenge, and the Sunday night Warren Brown Tools V8 Supercars Championship. As well, we have to give a massive shout out to all of our series sponsors, including Warren Brown Tools for their continued support on the Tuesday and Sunday Supercars, to Cooler Master for their continued support on the Wednesday night Super Formula Championship, and to Shannon's Insurance for their support on the Thursday night GR86 Nationals. As well as our other series sponsors, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Shunt Scenery and Groom Industries, the home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video's Top Gear Australia during the news, interviews, and other studio segments. But I've been Hamish Munro. This has been the Legends World Challenge, round 2 and round 3 of season 2 of 2024. We appreciate your time, appreciate you being here with us once again. But until next time, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because